The winner of the first Survivor competition is Rich.
The ultimate survivor, Richard Hatch.
This is one of the cockiest, most confident, pompous guys I've ever met.
I really liked being the villain.
In the summer of 2000, America was swept away by the reality series Survivor, thanks in large part to the naked ambition of Richard Hatch.
The first thing about Richard Hatch was you didn't like him.
Must be an alliance.
That's it. Survivor was supposed to be a game. For Richard Hatch, it was all business.
I didn't bank on the smartness of Richard Hatch.
He was diabolical.
There was $1 million at the end of this rainbow, and he was going to play it for all it was worth.
What do you know? I won.
My name's Puck Rainey. I'm a bike messenger in San Francisco.
He was the obnoxious oddball who provoked MTV viewers with his atrocious antics.
I'm like the guy in the corner going, I'll take your baby away.
Puck was viewed as the villain because he really was the villain in the house.
You just shut up. Shut up! You're a dork.
Puck's bad behavior on the real world made him TV's most hated house guest.
And by the way, you know that rumor that Puck stinks? He stinks.
Puck and Richard Hatch. One villain voted out and one voted in. Two reality TV bad boys in the white-hot spotlight of fame for 15. The debut of the CBS reality game show Survivor was the most talked about TV event of 2000. And the most talked about Survivor was the winner, Richard Hatch.
$1 million man sitting next to me today while Bryant is off.
Hatch was the gay corporate trainer who outwitted, outlasted, and outplayed his fellow castaways.
Everybody in America hated Richard. Boy, did people hate me. It was awesome. I loved it.
From the time he was born in Middletown, Rhode Island in 1961, the oldest son of a policeman and a nurse had no trouble capturing everyone's attention.
He was adorable. Everybody used to stop me on the street. He used to talk to everybody. He talked to a fire hydrant.
We certainly weren't wealthy. At one point, we were on welfare for a while after my parents' divorce.
Growing up, Rich was deeply insecure about his sexuality.
What I was feeling wasn't what all the other guys were feeling.
Afraid to admit he was gay, Rich got engaged shortly after high school.
And all of a sudden one day just woke up and thought, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? And I up and left. I joined the Army.
Rich adapted well to the rigors of Army life and was soon promoted to platoon leader.
I was a pain in the ass, turning people in for smoking pot. I was making people toe the line.
Rich's leadership qualities led Rhode Island's Senator Chafee to recommend him in 1980 for officer training at the nation's top military academy, West Point.
I think the challenge of West Point was right up his alley in the beginning.
But by his second year, 21-year-old Rich was struggling to march a straight path.
My first full-fledged sexual encounter with a man was at West Point. Just thought, well, wait a minute. I don't want to be in the Army, and left.
I learned that he was gay maybe a few years after he was out of West Point. I just was shocked.
And when he told us, it was fine.
After leaving the Army, Rich earned degrees in management and applied behavioral sciences.
Applied behavioral sciences being how we interact in organizations and what causes people to work together well versus what's problematic.
By the late 90s, he'd set up a successful practice as a corporate trainer. In '97, Rich took on a new challenge, a foster child.
The state couldn't place Christopher. He was the hardest child in Rhode Island to place at the time.
This was his 8th family, and the woman who'd interviewed me asked if I would watch him until they found another family for him.
Rich adopted 7-year-old Chris, who was overjoyed just to have someone who wanted him.
I guess it's just that I have him. I guess that would be number one for my favorite thing about him.
He thought that he could just take a child into his house, give him a little bit of love, and Chris would be fine, even though Chris is a handful at times.
In October '99, 2 years after adopting Chris, Rich found another challenge when his mom saw an ad seeking contestants for a new game show.
I believe I read it in USA Today and called him up.
She's always coming up with some cockamamie idea of what I can do and how I'll, it'll be awesome.
The show Survivor put 16 strangers on a remote island for 39 days. Each week, the castaways would vote one person off the island until only one survivor remained.
Tell me when to leave. I'm ready now. Can I start now?
Eager to compete for the $1 million prize, Rich sent in an audition tape.
Come on, Dad, do more push-ups. We need the money.
You got it, kid!
The producers called Rich in for an interview.
I said, look, you're going to pick me. What you don't know is I'm going to win.
He'd already figured out the game and told us repeatedly in casting he was already the winner.
And he said, okay, I'm going to be back. I'll be back in 3 months, and I'll be a millionaire.
In March 2000, 39-year-old Richard Hatch went to Survivor Island in the South Pacific with one thought in mind.
It was truly about money. I was thrilled to be going on the camping trip, but the thought of getting $1 million, oh yeah.
The former West Pointer knew he needed a strategy to win. At first, Rich tried to be the bullying platoon leader.
Richard was ruthless and an iron fist from the second he landed on the island.
I just want to talk about how we're going to win all 7 challenges, period, no question.
I'm good to go, survival-wise. People-wise, it'll be a little more challenging. But I've got the $1 million check written already. I mean, I'm the winner. And it's that kind of cocky attitude that makes people really hate your guts.
Rich, the behavioral science major, took a new tack. He formed a secret alliance with 3 other castaways. Voting as a block, they weeded out the competition.
He was diabolical, moving the little chess pieces around.
When I landed, I was like, an alliance? An alliance? Wow, what a good thought.
I was not surprised in any tribal council, ever.
He was smart, and I hated him for it.
Richard tirelessly went out fishing and caught fish. He was really useful to the tribe. The bottom line in Survivor is the $1 million winner is given that by the very people that person voted off.
Coming up, the tribe speaks and America listens.
Nobody could believe this guy won.
And later, MTV gets pucked.
I put my balls inside the container of the milk and swirled it all around, and then put it back.
When we return with the new TNN's Fame for 15. Richard Hatch was one of the final contestants left on Survivor in the spring of 2000.
Sitting next to a naked gay man. And if he had, like, something to cover the butt crack area, I'd be cool with that.
On a physical level, it was a little uncomfortable for me to be sitting next to a naked man.
I knew that was going to be fun television, to see this big whale of a guy walking around completely at ease with his nakedness.
After Rich's alliance voted everyone else off the island, only Rich and alliance member Kelly Wigglesworth remained.
We ended up with the 2 least likable people, the most duplicitous people that were on that island as finalists.
At the final tribal council, the last 7 players voted off returned to pick the winner.
I really was unclear about whether I'd win, even sitting there next to Kelly.
When the votes were counted, Richard Hatch was the first winner of Survivor. But Rich had to keep his victory a secret until the final episode aired 4 months later.
When Rich got back from the island, he had confided in me and taken me aside and told me that he came in 4th place.
He said, I'm between 2nd and 8th.
And he had us all fooled. I was convinced that he didn't win.
On May 31st, 2000, Survivor set sail on CBS. The cutthroat reality game was a sensational hit.
Survivor was such a huge hit because we'd never seen it. It mirrored life in many ways.
It was the real idea of what people were willing to do to other people for $1 million.
Survivor became the most watched summer program in TV history. And Rich Hatch became the first castaway to make headlines off the island when it was reported that he'd been arrested for child abuse. His adopted son Chris told teachers that during a morning jog, Rich had beaten him.
Toward the end of school, he actually changed his stories and had added all kinds of things. I strangled him, beat him, kicked him.
Chris soon admitted he'd made the story up, and charges against Rich were dropped. But by the time the final Survivor episode aired on August 23, 2000, most of its 51.7 million viewers saw Rich as a villain on the verge of winning $1 million.
The winner of the first Survivor competition is Rich.
You hold it together, take it in, think, wow, you just, it's not 100 grand, you just got $1 million. It's pretty exciting.
Rich's 15 minutes of fame with Survivor was just the beginning of the world seeing Rich.
Richard Hatch was everywhere. Magazines couldn't wait to put him on their covers. Television programs signed him up as a co-host.
Rich, I am told, really wants that chair. He wants this seat.
Why aren't the signs changed yet? I wanted the money, but could have cared less about the fame. But I also accepted that a certain amount of notoriety was guaranteed.
The $1 million man sitting next to me today while Bryant is off. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
He did a great job. You know, I told him if this Survivor stuff gets old to you, you always have a home here.
Richard, good morning. A belated congratulations to you.
Hey, Matt, how goes it? Thank you very much.
It goes well. How goes it with you? I mean,
I never see anyone really from around here on TV, let alone your brother. It was awesome.
Rich Hatch has had a lot more than 15 minutes of fame. I think he's going on 15 months of fame right now.
The American Association for Nude Recreation.
See ya.
Richard's 15 minutes of fame were ugly. Richard's one dress away from becoming Monica Lewinsky.
The women love him. I don't know what the women are thinking.
Today, Rich is still cashing in on his post-Survivor fame, and he's found love with political cartoonist Mark Ranslam.
Being partners with someone who's a celebrity, it does sort of feel like you're living a little bit of a fishbowl, but we have a lot of privacy here and have a lot of good quality time together and with his son, Chris.
I'm not desperate to remain famous. I'm happy for the opportunities that being in the spotlight provides, and life goes on.
Coming up, the real world's most outrageous roommate.
I had a very trying day today. I went to jail and got hit by a car.
A lot of people who were in that house were afraid of Puck.
When we return with the new TNN's Fame for 15.
This is the true story of 7 strangers.
Picked to live in a house.
And have their lives too.
In the summer of '94, a San Francisco bike messenger turned a show called The Real World into surreal television.
Puck, never seen anything like it before.
Everyone is like, oh my God, Puck is just crazy.
You take pictures of your injuries?
Oh, I have such a collection of scab photos.
Puck took his 15 minutes and used all 1459 of it. He wanted to make sure that if I'm going to be on the show, you're going to know who the hell Puck is. I'm a good character. I can be that. That works for TV. The camera loves that.
Whether he was eating with his fingers or mocking his age-stricken roommate,
I told you we were the odd couple.
Puck was the schmuck MTV viewers couldn't stop watching.
I'm here to be me, and I'm not gonna change, man. I like me.
He's an ill-bred, ill-mannered, poorly washed human being.
He's dirty, he's funny, he's crass, he's great reality television.
Puck's antics on The Real World made viewers hate him. As a child growing up near Oakland, California, Puck had felt hate before. Born David Rainey in 1968, he was only 3 when his parents, Ron and Vicky, split up. When his mother later married an African-American man, Puck learned about cruelty and hate.
The black community would hate on us because the black guy married a white lady. And the white community would hate on us because the white lady married a black guy.
He used to get beat up a lot. You know, anybody that's different, that doesn't have the June Cleaver mom and dad, they tend to get picked on.
Puck dropped out of high school after the 10th grade.
Well, after high school, I rock climbed, and I toured around.
In 1988, at the age of 20, Puck began cruising the streets of San Francisco as a bike messenger.
You get to ride your bicycle every day. So So to me, that was as free as I could ever be.
In early '94, producers from MTV's reality series The Real World came to town to shoot its third season in a Bay Area townhouse. The show moved a handful of very different young people into a house as TV cameras captured the ensuing fireworks.
Puck is an MTV producer's dream because he is a constant source of conflict. You put him in a house with a bunch of people and you want to tell stories, you know Puck's going to deliver.
But on the day Puck was to move into the Real World house, the San Francisco police changed the plan. Puck was jailed for failing to attend court-ordered classes after a DUI conviction.
You can't arrest me now. I have to do a TV show, like right now.
He goes, I ain't hearing that. I get on the phone, I call The Real World. Hey, it's Puck. I'm in jail.
Puck was bailed out after a few hours. By the time he got to the Lombard Street loft, his 6 new roommates were waiting for him.
So let's keep our names straight.
Judge, Pamela, Mohammed, Corinne, Rachel, Pedro.
Oh, we're missing someone still.
And then I walk in. It was better that way. I was just smelling bad, just reeking like sweat in jail.
Hi. I am the Puck.
I just thought he was kind of a punk. He was dirty and funky.
Just spill beer on me. Just a wave of the future.
Puck's new roommate soon got a good whiff of his rude, crude attitude and pungent body odor.
I'm humming. I think I went 32 days right out of the gate.
Can you see the stink coming off of me?
32 days, no shower. I would just wash my hands, you know? They're not even that good.
You'd be like, oh, I missed my, my shower day. And you're like, oh, man. I mean, it was bad.
I don't use utensils ever. Your fingers make these cool shapes, you can kind of just, whoa.
He really has no manners whatsoever.
Bad as he was, Puck's roommates had yet to experience the higher levels of Puck's personality.
People like me on about a 4 Puck, because then you're having a good time.
Oh, that really sucks.
6, I start getting pretty obnoxious. Number 8, you're ready to punch me in the face. Number 9, I'm bleeding. Number 10.
Judd! I haven't seen you all day, man!
God loves me at 10.
Coming up, Puck picks on Pedro.
Did you just stick your finger in there?
No.
I really have a big problem with Puck.
I was out to get Pedro. That's the thing that the whole show is focused on.
When we return with the new TNN's Fame for 15.
Don't do that in the church, okay? Just let it fall.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't have any underwear on.
A San Francisco bike messenger named Puck became infamous on the MTV series The Real World in the summer of '94. Fans of this voyeuristic look into the lives of 7 roommates were shocked by Puck's bad boy behavior.
He was kind of like all about controversy and seemed like he just didn't care what anyone thought of him.
Puck's prime target was Pedro Zamora. A gay native of Cuba, Pedro suffered from AIDS.
I mean, he said a lot of inflammatory stuff about Pedro. He was tripped out that there was a guy in the house that had AIDS.
They hated each other. They really hated each other.
Did you just stick your finger in there?
No.
Pedro caught Puck dipping his finger in the peanut butter.
Now, that would have been cool, except that half an hour before, I saw you put your fingers against your nose, throw a snot out, and then just wipe it on the thing.
That's the thing that the whole show is focused on. I was out to get Pedro, you know?
Oh, he definitely seemed homophobic. He made gay jokes, he made crude remarks about Pedro's accent.
This is an unhealthy situation for me to live in, so I must go.
It makes perfect sense to me that they would have a young person with AIDS on the show. But I didn't have to feel sorry for this person. I didn't give him the disease.
It became harder for the roommates to deal with Puck's behavior as Pedro's health deteriorated.
His T-cell count had dropped tremendously, and he reached a point and he said, okay, I cannot deal with the stress of living with this person.
It was like we all suddenly realized we didn't want to live with this person either.
5 weeks into the show, the roommates met to do something that had never before been done on The Real World. They voted a roommate out of the house.
Do we want you to move out of the house? And the answer is yes.
Well, I think you're all really petty for this whole thing. That's what I think. They all voted me off, and that was like the home run for me. That was grand slam.
It didn't really surprise me. at all. You know, he's been thrown out by roommates before.
After getting the boot, Puck spent the next several months living in his car in Idaho.
You live under that scrutiny every day, and it just drives you nuts. When I got off the show, I had like a nervous breakdown.
Puck tried to stay in the MTV family by getting a shot as an MTV VJ.
The people at MTV thought that he was just like so awesome.
My ovaries are clanging together.
And it was just lame, and he was pathetic as a VJ. He just sucked.
Oh, wow. Enunciation is not a plus.
I'm pissed!
In 1996, following Pedro Zamora's death, Puck showed up for a real-world reunion special, giving viewers exactly what they expected.
I'm Weird Beard, and I'm here on behalf of Puck today. I'm gonna answer all his questions.
The minute we got there, we were in the dressing room, and the first person we see is Puck.
Don't touch me.
Get out!
Oh, he made an absolute ass of himself.
Buckle up, Judd. I got a bone to pick with you.
When I did the first reunion show, I was on 4 hits of LSD. I didn't say it.
You're lying. You know you are.
Your mother's my secret lover. Judd, and I'm out of here. I've got to.
I don't think it'll be.
I know. Good. Yeah, you're right. Go away, man. You. Go away, dude. I don't want to see none of you.
But the puckish behavior that made him a media star was becoming a liability. In May of '99, he went too far, going to jail for assaulting a girlfriend.
And I went to jail for a year, yeah. Kind of sucked. I'll never let anybody put me in jail like that again.
6 years after The Real World, the media had not forgotten Puck. In 2001, the 31-year-old Puck found himself back on television.
I'm Dave Puck. I'm from my mom's womb.
And once again, getting the boot.
We'll announce it's time to get the Puck out of here.
Today, the guy who was famous for not bathing is cleaning up graffiti. And in November 2001, he and his girlfriend Betty had a baby boy.
Having a baby's a trip, being a father. I'm a nice, gentle Puck now.
He's gonna be a good dad. He's gonna do the best he can.
He's a little easier to be around these days.
And the reason I think Puck had 15 minutes of fame instead of maybe, 30 or 45 minutes of fame was that he ruined all his opportunities.
People can hate on me if they want. They're just helping me out. The more you persecute a guy, the quicker he's going to heaven. I have had guys, though, come up and just sock me out of nowhere. Sure, they want to be able to say they hit Puck. Life's a bitch, man.